Just the way it goes. Just the way it goes. Degrees.
Sadistic Penguin Studios presents It's Getting Drafty in Here.
Drafty old barn.
The show of drafting random nonsense.
I choose business ethics.
And now, coming to you from his basement, a.k.a. Draft Headquarters, your host and draft master, Magnificent Stan.
Hello, welcome to episode 26 of It's Getting Drafty in Here. I am your host, Magnificent Stan. Today is Tuesday, September 5th, 2023. And right now we are about 5 days away from kickoff of the Chicago Bears season. So I figured what would be suitable for which is our final episode of season one. But we're going to do a comprehensive Bears draft today. Joining me, first of all, is a fellow Sadistic Penguin member and host of the Collector's Corner, our guy Aloha Mr. Hand. What's going on, pal?
Not much. How about you? Thanks for having me.
No problem. Had a long day at work today, but I'm going to push through and we're going to have some fun here.
Can I say one thing real quick?
Yes, sir.
Bears had to get it out.
We're talking about a certain team from a certain town. Also joining me today is our mustachioed friend here from the Chicago Sports Bums. This is now your third turn on the show?
Yeah, I think it's my third. Yes.
We got our buddy Johnny. What's going on, pal?
Oh, I'm excited, man. I've been waiting for this ever since you told me. So I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
Now Yumper said you had to brush your mustache. Did you brush your mustache before the show?
No, I combed it. I brush. I combed it.
You don't have like a big brush that you.
No, I can't go like.
It's like a horse brush, like a horse hair
just
brush.
a little comb, just to make everything
Did you at least
even.
wax it up for us?
I don't have it that long where I can do that, but I can make it a little bit longer. The next time maybe I come on here, maybe I'll grow it out. How about that?
Now, are you going to eventually have a mustache that would be befitting of someone who would tie someone to a set of railroad tracks?
It's possible.
Yes.
Nice.
All right. So tonight we're doing a Bears. There we go. All right. Tonight we're doing a Bears draft. I made a little graphic for us. So we have 6 rounds. Each of us has to. You know what? I'm going to hide that real quick. Each of us has to draft one of the following: a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver, a tight end, a defense, but we're barring 1985's defense from selection, as well as a coach. And then overall, we aren't allowed to draft any players, coaches, or defenses from before 1980. I didn't want to talk about all-timer football and leather helmets and bullshit like that. I want Red Grange to enter our conversation tonight. So just basically, I made the the year of my birth as the year of contention for tonight's draft. So there's that. I have our board up and ready to go here. Let's go ahead with our guy Johnny here, who's probably got, I would probably say, the most obvious pick in the history of Drafty Pod. But maybe he'll shock us and go with Ryan Wetnight. What do you got, Johnny?
Man, I gotta go Kyle. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna go with my guy, everybody's guy. I mean, this is no surprise to anybody. If you're even like doing this whole draft, I gotta go with Walter Payton. Sweetness. I mean, I don't have to say too much of what this guy did throughout the years. I mean, he retired early as well too. You know, I mean, that's like another thing too. Like he could have continued going on, but he stopped at certain age, kind of like a Barry Sanders type. You know, when he retired as well too, but he retired earlier. But man, I mean, I was young. I didn't even see him play, but the fact that I've seen, footage, I've seen, what he did, juking everybody, just power, just going through everybody. He was just one of those guys that
he was absolutely fearless,
Yes, exactly. Fearless. So, obviously I'm going to go with number 1, my guy, Walter Payton.
Now, you didn't pick him because Yumper put
I didn't like I just realized this, that you guys, I don't know if this was like a setup that this was about to happen or a tease, but
I think he just tries to find the heads that fit the bodies. I don't think that I mean, I'll let him answer that, but I don't think that I don't think he's thinking that far ahead here. But yeah, I mean, there's no dispute that he's the greatest player in the history of the Chicago Bears.
Yes.
I mean, someone did mention Curtis Enos, and he's close. I did once see a guy at a Bears game wearing a Curtis Enos jersey, and he put a piece of tape over the back, like in front of the E, and he wrote a P in. So that was
of
a good.
Course, yeah.
Oh, and Baloney's mentioning my favorite player of all time, Dane Sanzenbacher. We used to call him Sausage Bacon. But yeah, I mean, you can't. There's no dispute here. Walter Payton's obviously going to be the number 1 pick here. Most well-rounded offensive player possibly ever. Top 3 in both rushing and receiving for the Bears.
And you know what?
I think that's more of a commentary on how just putrid the Bears offense has been for 100 years. But
and not only that, but I would also add that he was probably better as a quarterback than a lot of the quarterbacks we've seen in our lifetime.
He had a cannon. Whenever he did throw, it was always like a 40 or 50-yard pass,
Yes. Yep. He did. There was a game in '85 against the Redskins where he threw a pass to McMahon.
Yeah, McMahon running on the sideline.
Yes.
That was in '85. Yeah, I remember that one. He just falling over. That was a fucking amazing catch by Jim McMahon too. Yeah. For a guy who got hurt all the time, he was pretty damn athletic.
And also in '84, I want to say they lost McMahon with the lacerated kidney.
Yep.
Then they had Steve. They say Jimbo is our man. Jimmy can't do it. I sure can. This is Steve. They lost Steve Fuller. Then they had Greg Landry, I want to say, as like another quarterback. And
when did they get Tom Zach was on the team in '84 too, wasn't he?
No, he was an '85 draft.
Okay, so he was
a rookie.
Okay,
yeah, in '85. But Peyton wound up lining up as quarterback for, I want to say, a significant portion of the game.
That's crazy.
And they basically ran like a modified wishbone.
And it still worked.
Yes, it did.
That's so. Pete singing the Steve Fuller section of the Super Bowl Shuffle. I was pretty hammered at the ball game on Friday. I sang the entire Steve Fuller section of that one. So I hope you were impressed that I knew every single lyric to that.
Yeah. Sadly, I do too.
Fun Walter Payton fact. In my very, very, very brief high school football career, I did play against Jared Payton. And he was Walter was actually on the sidelines for those games.
Was he on the sidelines or on the roof?
He was actually like a volunteer coach freshman year. He wasn't that sick yet. Nobody knew he was sick yet.
Yeah.
And Jared was, I knew Jared in junior high. We used to go like when my school and his school would go on like trips to DC and Springfield and stuff like that. We'd always go together. So we actually, I did get to like meet and hang out with him a bit. He was one of the best
pretty
soccer
cool.
players in the United States, under 18 at that point, and must have known that Walter was not going to be around that much longer because he jumped into football. He was pretty good. I mean, he played quarterback the first like freshman and sophomore year, and he wasn't very good. Yeah. Once they moved him to running back, he was one of the best in the state for a while there. But really, really, really nice guy from what I remember. I mean, I haven't talked to him in 25 years, but okay. So this is where it gets tricky. And in pre-show pizza, there was a second pick, and I don't know what that second pick is. I'm gonna go get my quarterback out of the way. I'm gonna piss some people off. So this guy has by far the most yards and touchdowns Bears history, and a lot of people don't look at those numbers because I don't think they realize just how fucking good smoking ass Jay Cutler was. Guy was a jag-off, yeah, but he was good. So let me get the numbers real quick.
Yes, he is the number one quarterback in passing yards all time for the Bears.
So he was with the team for 8 years.
Yes,
23,000 yards, and the next highest one in modern era is Jim Harbaugh with 11,000.
Yep,
he had 154 touchdown passes. The next highest after that was Jim McMahon with 67. So, he was good. He was good. He was a good quarterback. They gave him a couple of weapons. They kept fucking with him with offensive coordinators left and right over the years. He had to learn a new system every couple of years. But
you mean Mike Martz's system didn't work?
Oh God, should I pick him as my coach for this one?
Yeah, who needs a tight end?
Yeah,
Mike Martz.
Who needs a tight end?
Yeah.
I don't have a cigarette with me, Dougie, but I haven't smoked in 15 years. Let's not open that can up. But yeah, I think it's pretty indisputable that he's the best, unless you want to go with the guy that's got the job right now. But I mean, you can't do that yet.
Right.
I think it's also, and you're going to find out as we go along this draft, is a pretty large commentary on just how putrid the Bears have been over the last, 43 years. So
try 100, but
well, I mean,
on the offensive side, try 100 years.
I mean, I'm only 42, so I don't even know, I don't know who's on the team in the 70s. But all right, let's go. What's your first round pick, Pete?
My first round pick has to do with the footing and the foundation of the Chicago Bears. And we know that this is a team that has always been built on defense. So my first pick is the 1984 Bears defense, because that defense still, I believe, holds the record for most sacks.
For sacks, yep. It was like 72, I think it was.
Yes, it was 72. And I think, who was it? The Vikings had 71 in like 98 or 99 or something like that.
Yeah.
But what I would recommend to people, there is one play that epitomizes the 1984 Bears. In the playoff game against the Washington, then Redskins, so don't shoot me for saying that, Little Joe Washington took a pass from Joe Theismann, and Todd Bell knocked him into next week. The video is available on YouTube. I highly recommend anyone go watch this play.
Did he lead with his helmet?
Oh God, yes. Oh, absolutely.
That's all they used to do. I a few years ago I bought a DVD set of the 85 Bears that had every game on it in the playoff games.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I don't know how Gary Fensick can talk or walk or holy shit. That guy used his fucking helmet as a nuclear weapon.
So did Doug Plank. Ooh. If with Doug Plank, if there was a hole this big, his helmet was going in it. And another play I can suggest you go to YouTube and check out is Doug Plank and Jimmy Giles. Because Doug Plank looks like a bull waiting for Jimmy Giles to catch the ball, and he knocks him horizontal to the point where Doug Williams, the quarterback, is running down the field screaming for a penalty. And the Bears are just looking at him like, he's soft.
What was the difference in terms of personnel from 84 to 85? I know Fridge was a rookie in 85.
Fridge was a rookie. Al Harris and Todd Bell sat out that year. So they were replaced. Harris was
Richardson,
replaced
right?
by Wilbur Marshall,
Yeah.
who was on the team in 84.
That's a good replacement.
Yeah. And Todd Bell was replaced by Dave Duerson, who Buddy Ryan hated Dave Duerson. Hated him.
Interesting.
But those were the two components that were switched out. And then Fridge switched out Mike Hartenstein in like week 5 or 6. Basically Fridge became a starter right about the time he started carrying the ball too.
Well, a lot of people could argue that towards the tail end of 85 that Wilbur Marshall was the best defensive player on that team. That's how good Wilbur Marshall had gotten.
Yeah, I've heard that as well too.
Yeah.
I would argue that the weakest player on that defense in 85 was Mike Singletary.
Whoa.
And
but again, being the weakest part of the best defense in history of the sport is fine. Like
he was by far the weakest linebacker because you had Wilbur Marshall and Otis Wilson. Right. Otis Wilson single-handedly broke Danny White's back in that Dallas game. Just running up, and Wilbur Marshall knocked Joe Ferguson into the next month, or I should say into 1986 when he hit him in that game in Detroit in 1985.
Yeah.
But so the first pick is the 1984 defense.
It's a good
second
one. It was on my list.
Yeah. Second pick, because I get the wraparound pick, is I am torn between two picks, but I have to go with this one. He's the punky QB known as McMahon. When he hits the turf, he's got no plan. Now, he's like the number 4 quarterback or number 5 in all-time passing yards for the Bears. And think about that stat with how injured he was. I mean, he got injured in 84 against the Raiders with the lacerated kidney. He got banged up in 85. Then the Charles Martin body slam in 86, which would make most pro wrestlers today look, cringe in fear. So the guy was the undisputed, leader of the offense, if you will, with Peyton, because Peyton did encourage him to not follow the plays that were being brought in by the coach.
Yep.
Peyton had gone to him and said, you didn't call the play. Keep doing what you're doing.
I've heard people say Walter Payton was the offensive coordinator in that team, not
yes. There's a very strong
I know Ditka called the plays, but come on.
Yeah. Ditka called the plays, but that doesn't mean that's what the play was that was executed.
Yeah.
So I have to go with McMahon because he just provided that swagger as well.
I had him number 3 on my list, but it's a good pick still. I mean, there's not that many quarterbacks that were successful,
Well, there's another very obvious quarterback out there.
I think there's 2 more, and we'll talk about that.
We'll
obviously,
talk about it. Yeah. One,
but I think
possibly 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
okay, that's a good one.
But any quarterback who can wear the commissioner's name on his headband is all right in my book.
That was good. Yeah, he always loved being a prick, didn't he?
Yes.
It's sad. It's sad what's happened to him, but
yes,
that's what happens
and
when you play football.
He's doing an autograph signing in October in Bridgeview.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Oh,
all right. I'm gonna go defense here. I actually had this one like on level footing with 84. This was one of my favorite teams, one of my favorite Bears teams. I'm gonna go with 2001 defense.
Okay.
That team let Urlacher do whatever the fuck he wanted, and it was because you had those two big boys up front.
Yep.
You had Washington, you had Trailer.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
One of my favorite all-time moments is Keith Trailer picking up that fumble and going, looking back like someone was. He was running like the fucking boogeyman was coming after him. So
he was running like he wanted someone to catch him so he could fall down and catch his breath.
Yeah. He was trying to pass the ball to somebody.
Right, and that was the year, with the two walk-offs with Mike Brown.
Yes.
And that they had was that the year they had R.W. McQuarters too?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know.
I'll have to look that up while we're talking here.
Because that's the year they had David Terrell and Anthony Thomas as rookies too.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I'm just looking it up real quick here because they had a couple of cornerbacks that were really good too. Jerry Azuma was on that team.
Yes.
They had Mike Green. They did have R.W. McQuarters. That was the year R.W. McQuarters did the Super Bowl his own Super Bowl shuffle. You remember that?
That I don't remember. No.
He did his own Super Bowl shuffle video.
Oh, I'll have to look it up later.
Huh. Yeah, and that they had the two other linebackers. They had Holdman and Rosie Colvin.
Yeah.
I think Rosie led the team in sacks that year. And then they didn't want to pay him, and he went to the Patriots.
Is that rookie year Peanut Tillman?
I don't know.
No,
I think that might have been. He might have been. Yeah, it might have been later.
Yeah, the big end that they had, the two ends, Brian Robinson and Philip Daniels.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Azuma was the nickel, and then they have Mike Green Walt Harris and McQuarters were the starters.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean that's that. There's another Bears team a few years later that their defense was excellent, but
yes.
Okay, 03 was Tillman's rookie year.
Okay.
Peanut punch. But yeah, I want to get defense out of the way. I was gonna do running back, but it doesn't here. Johnny's already got his running back, so I can wait.
Yeah.
But okay, let's go. What you got next, Johnny? You got two here.
All right, so I'm gonna wait quarterback because obviously there's a lot of slim pickings at this point, but I'll hold. I'll hold off.
You have the pick of the litter at this point. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, I'll hold off for
if
just a little bit.
If the litter's just a big pile of crap, but
Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna go with tight end on this one. I'm gonna go with Greg Olsen. I was pissed off when they hired Mike Martz and he decided just to say, hey, we didn't need him. Obviously, we just talked about this. And that was such a dumb move because him and Cutler were like, I thought they were just going to be, they were just doing so well with each other. And Olsen had a very good, a couple good years with the Bears. Obviously, he got traded to Carolina, and obviously he had almost I would say a Hall of Fame career. I mean, he's definitely going to be in the Hall of Fame when his time's around. But man, I remember one of his games was that playoff game that he had against Seattle, where he was just like they couldn't cover him. Like he had 2 touchdowns, he had 113 yards. Like nobody could guard him at any time because he was such a big guy. So, and then after that, I mean,
he's 5th all time in receiving yards as a tight end, but 2nd in touctouchdowns. So definitely,
yeah. And
he had a short career here. So yeah,
right, exactly. This was because of the short stint. I mean, look at how his records were with the Bears. Yes. So yeah, I mean, Greg Olsen, like 100%. Now, as far as my next pick, I'm going to hold off on defense as well, too.
Yeah, you got to pick it a little.
Well, yeah,
same thing, too.
Pete and I got the same thing, so.
Yeah, I got to go with the coach here, man. And the man, the myth, the legend, I got to go with
Dave wants that.
The mustache.
Yeah.
Yeah, fellow mustachian, Mike Ditka.
Too on point, Mr. Mustache.
Yeah.
You got a forehead the size of Mike Ditka's mustache. What's that song from Serengeti?
Yeah, I mean, and I know too that, you know, everybody's gonna say like, oh, when, you know, Mike Ditka was around, you know, it was like Buddy's team and all that. I get that whole, like, you know, rivalry between both of them, but you know, Mike Ditka, like, on one of those America's best teams, like when they used to have that on the NFL Network, you know, he said that neither one of them like won a championship after that or were good after that. So,
Sure.
you know, they just gelled together. They worked, you know, even though I'm sorry, they didn't gel together, but like I said, I mean, regardless of whatever animosity they had with each other, I just think that they, you know, low key, they did work, you know, well with each other. So, yeah, I definitely have to go with the coach.
It's a good pick. It's a selection where he is indisputable number one. So
yes,
yeah.
Well, he's
won
number
Super Bowl,
two.
so.
But number one isn't qualified for this.
Yeah.
Tressman?
No, Papa Bear.
Papa Bear.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, Ditka. He's a prick, but he, you know.
Yes. And I will say this: if you ever get the chance, ask MSS to tell his Ditka story. He told it on the 108 podcast 4 or 5 years ago. But I'm sure if you ask
like a personal Ditka story,
a Ditka appearance story.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Well, alrighty then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's my turn. I think I'm going to screw Pete over. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and take Lovie Smith as my coach. We'll leave Pete with the the task of having to figure out the third one here.
My pick
was just good.
My pick is going to win this draft for coach. You'll see. I have strategery going on.
Lovie Smith, you know, he helped. He did a really good job. He took a team to the Super Bowl that really probably didn't deserve to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, Rex Grossman was a freaking quarterback.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, he I think he far exceeded expectations here. He got fired after an 11-win season for some fucking reason. I don't know why, but they let him go. And then he kept helping us all these years later by winning a late season game last year and giving us the number one pick. So
yeah.
Thanks for DJ Moore, Lovey.
DJ Moore, yeah, exactly.
Rex is our quarterback.
And a second first round pick next year too.
Yes.
We're gonna have fun.
Hopefully it's a low pick.
It's gonna be we're just gonna draft nothing but offensive linemen next year. Let's just do that, please.
Yeah, high pick, yes.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the Bears after this round a little bit. Yeah. So what do you got, Pete?
All right, so I still have a couple of guys on the board that I could go for. And you know, I'm going to leave coach for last because really I got the pick of the litter, and you guys are absolutely sleeping on one of the coaches. But running back, I'm going to have to go with the man who had the unfortunate task of trying to replace Walter Payton, Neil Anderson.
Wow.
Who was a damn good running back.
Neil Anderson was phenomenal.
Yes, yeah. But unfortunately, he had the task of replacing Walter Payton.
Yeah. He had those 3 years in the middle, 88, 89, 90. Yeah. Went to the Pro Bowl every year.
Yep.
Over 1,000 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And he also caught the ball out of the backfield a lot. Yeah, that's a good. All right.
So I get another pick.
Yes, dear.
Well,
we're just hiding from wide receivers.
Well, wide receiver, I'm actually going to take someone who, quote unquote, was a wide receiver, but excelled at something else.
Okay. He's on my list. I put a question mark at the end.
It's got to be Devin Hester.
Okay.
You know, and remember the great experiment, and I'll never forget this. When they made the Cutler trade, I remember Bernstein, and when it was Boers and Bernstein still, talking about how, Jay Cutler is going to make Devin Hester into a wide receiver. I had to laugh at that because Devin Hester was not a wide receiver because
Still wasn't,
the thing with Hester was he was a reactionary player.
He couldn't play cornerback either because that's what he played in college, and he couldn't do that either.
Right.
You know?
He was a reactionary player. You know, he was one of those guys who don't think, just react. And so he had to – that's why he was so great at kickoff and punt returns, because he didn't have to think. He reacted. But, hey, Baloney, let me say this. How many Bears wide receivers do?
That's a good point. That's a good point. I still, to this day, as a fan of football, Bears football, I don't think I've ever gotten as excited or as scared in my entire life as when Devin Hester ran the Super Bowl opening kickoff back.
Oh my gosh! I thought
almost
that was
shit
it.
my pants.
Yeah. Yep.
Marge knows the score. Smash that like button, peoples.
Right on, Marge. You tell him.
Marge, you want to go on a date with me? All right.
Well, seeing the proposition she's getting from
right. That's what I'm saying. Like,
it might work.
Like old married guy, or what I've been dealing with. All right.
$9.
All right, let's go. I'm gonna go wide receiver too. I was kind of scared you were gonna take the one I'm gonna take. I feel like there is an undisputed wide receiver in Bears in this window. He had a couple of epic seasons with the Bears with my buddy Jay Cutler. I'm gonna go Brandon Marshall. So,
yep.
Oof. Okay.
Look at the numbers, man. He had 2 seasons that were absolutely outstanding for Bears wide receivers, not for he was problematic. He was a pain in the ass, but he had 1,500 yards and 11 touchdowns in 2012 and 1,300 yards and 12 touchdowns in 2013. That's 2 phenomenal seasons for Bears wide receivers. So, I kind of have to go that route.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that is a good one. And it just, unfortunately, what he accomplished on the field gets overshadowed by what he was off the field.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the guy was a pain in the ass. But you know what? That's a wide receiver. Wide receivers are pain in the asses always. So,
yes.
You know. It's kind of anticlimactic at this point for Johnny because it's kind of anticlimactic for Johnny at this point because the 3 spots that he still needs we already took, so he just he can't screw us at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
No, and actually, I was a little worried when you were saying that he was a teammate of Jay Cutler, because I thought you were going to pick actually my pick that I wanted for a wide receiver, which is Alshon Jeffrey. Alshon was another good wide receiver. He was making incredible plays one after another. And it was like a Minnesota game where he just like went off and had like I think he had like I think he still has the Bears receiving record. I think it was like 200 something plus yards that particular game. Yeah. He had great seasons. I'm not quite sure if he actually did make the Pro Bowl. I think he might have. I'm not sure about that, but he had 2 seasons back to back where he had over 1,000 yards, receiving yards as well too. He
was a Pro Bowler in 2013.
Yeah, I kind of figured he was. So, I was sad that when he. Yeah, I was sad when he left because I thought he was a great wide receiver. He kind of dwindled down a little bit, like towards like the end of his career, but those like like I said, when he was young, and just the size, he was kind of like complimentary to Brandon Marshall, because they were two really big wide receivers that you know,
Huge
they could
dudes,
just
yeah.
do whatever they wanted. It was hard to defend them.
Mhm.
And I just think that Jay Cutler, like, you know, obviously other than Brandon Marshall, loved throwing it to Alshon Jeffrey as well too. So yeah, he's my pick.
Yeah. He kind of the problem he had was he just couldn't stay healthy. Those last 2 seasons he missed a bunch of games, but yeah, I mean he had a pretty sterling, pretty stellar career with the Bears for sure.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna save quarterback for last. So defense, I'm gonna go with a team who also had Mike Brown, who also had Urlacher. Was that 2006 Bears team who went to the Super Bowl. I still say, and I still say it to anybody when they went to that Super Bowl, they did not have Mike Brown. They did not have Tommy Harris. They were both injured for that Super Bowl. I feel that if they were both playing, I believe that we would have won that Super Bowl. Yes, we had Rex Grossman as our quarterback. I know. But that defense was also as good as well too. I mean, Lance Briggs. I mean, you had who was the other linebacker? That was
well, that was a Hunter. 06 was the Hunter Hillenmeyer year.
Yeah, Hunter Hillenmeyer. Yeah,
yeah, he was good. I mean, he did what he needed to do.
Yeah.
Sure.
So obviously Peanut Tillman was like the peanut punch. I mean, and I remember that time when he was going up against I don't know if it was that year or what, but he was like going up against like Randy Moss, and he just took that ball away from him. But I mean, just that whole team, that from front to back, they were just pretty much loaded. And I just thought that they could have. I thought they could have won the Super Bowl.
Their pass rush was sick, man.
Yes,
because they had Mark Anderson, who just couldn't stop getting to the quarterback. They had I mean, Tommy Harris was really good at getting the quarterback, but they also had Agoulier and Alex Brown too. So
yes.
And who was the other lineman they had that got in trouble?
Tank Johnson.
Tank Johnson. Thank you. Yeah.
Tank was always a pain in the ass.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Mark Anderson had 12 sacks, and he was the third.
Rookie
he was
season.
the third end. He was a third end too. He wasn't an every down guy.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, it's a good defense. I kind of argued with myself a little bit over 06 or 01, but I love me some trailer in Washington.
Well, I don't think you could go wrong in either one of them.
No,
I mean,
you can't.
No,
for sure. Okay. Well, I guess I'll take. Yeah, I guess I'll go tight end. Because I like struggled with this initially, like just kind of looking over everything. I'm gonna go with a guy who had kind of a short run with the team, but put up some pretty big numbers in a couple of years. Martellus Bennett. There are a couple other options, but I feel like his peak was way better than the other guys. So, no,
that's
good. Guy was nuts, but he was good.
Yes,
I got the crazies on my team. I got freaking Brandon Marshall and Martellus Bennett.
Well, there have been several crazies on this team. Should we create a crazy player column?
Might be a good one.
Was he the one that was talking about the dinosaurs?
Yes.
That's Carl Everett.
Oh, that's Carl Everett. But wasn't he talking about dinosaurs as well too?
He did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was out there, man. He was a little crazy. He wasn't like reckless crazy like Brandon Marshall. He was just like legit like nuts. Yeah, Alonzo Spellman would definitely be number one.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
When Mike Singletary has to come and help the SWAT team get you out of the house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you got problems.
Yeah, a lot of younger Bears fans don't know about Alonzo Spellman. They really if you get a chance, do some reading, man. That guy was legit fucking bonkers.
And the scary thing is, Spellman had all the tools.
He would have been a superstar.
Oh God, yes.
He'd have been our LT man. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But he'd have been really good.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's a shame that what happened with him, but he had all the tools. He really did.
Yep.
He was dominant at Ohio State, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Ohio State, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I think it was Ohio State.
That does sound right. That does sound right.
Yeah.
Texas A&M.
Oh, well, never mind.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean that's another guy. It's funny for a team that is notorious for being bad in terms of a passing game. That guy's peak was the 3 years he was with the Bears.
Yeah.
So he had a good season afterwards in New England, but not as good as he did with the Bears.
Yeah.
2014 Bears, man. They won 5 games, but they had some offense.
Yeah.
Kind of funny. That was the first Trestman team, I think.
No, was that the second?
Was it the second? They went 5-11.
I think that was.
It was the second because the first year he won 8-8. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, because that was the year they had back-to-back 50s put up against them.
Jesus Christ. Okay, we're gonna relive the Mark Trestman years.
Yes. Why wouldn't you want to?
Whenever he did a press conference, I just want to punch him in his face because you could tell he's just so full of shit. His stupid shit-eating grin on his face, and he is always like, "Well, we really tried hard today." Like, fuck you, Fred Rogers. Get out of the press conference. Sorry, Brandon. You didn't think we were gonna talk about Bears the last 40 years and not bitch a little bit, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, grow the football. Oh, God. What a great line that was. That's right up there with Pedro Gaffal trying to talk about culture. But, so, okay.
You know what? Wait a minute. That's who Gaffal is. He's Mark fucking Trestman.
I said that all year.
That's definitely a good comparison.
It's pretty accurate.
Mark Trestman is someone else. Too,
he's an aw shucks.
Yeah. Mark Trestman is someone else too, and I'll get to that at some point.
So are we saying
he
that
looks like Gollum?
No, there's someone else he looks like.
So if we send Gaffal to Canada, he's going to succeed then, right?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Absolutely.
Fair enough.
Probably lead the Blue Jays to a World Series. Because Trestman led Toronto to the Grey Cup, didn't he?
A couple times.
Yeah. But all right, so I have a tight end and a coach left. Well, I got to go with the tight end first. And ladies, please close your ears for a second because this can get rather graphic. When watching the Bears back in the day, me and my friends would always cheer for this player in this format. We want more head. We want more head. So got to go Emery Moorhead. Even though his son was on the Colts team that beat the Bears in the Super Bowl, still got to go with Emery Moorhead. He was the safety valve for the Bears teams. Not a Hall of Famer by any stretch of the imagination. Okay,
none of the tight ends are real. I mean, Olsen,
right.
But he did more outside of the team.
Right. Okay blocker, okay receiver. Obviously, a great scene getting chewed out by Ditka by having his face mask grabbed on Monday Night Football and being screamed at. So I got to go with Emery Moorhead there.
I remember that.
Yes. And then
speaking of Monday Night, speaking of that, I've been contemplating. I already talked to Beef and Chorizy about it. And they thought it was a good idea doing playback, but putting the YouTube clips of the Janet Davies playing against Bears.
Oh God!
I think I'm gonna try doing that if I have time this week.
And if you've never seen, if you
don't know what that is, right before the Super Bowl, right?
Yes.
So
it was Saturday night, I believe.
Like the lead-in. Okay. So Janet Davies, and if you don't know who Janet Davies is, she's been a sports reporter personality in Chicago for 40 years. and
You were
she
the one
did.
who was with Mark Greco the last couple New Year's Eves that got
Right.
Oh
Yeah,
yes,
I forgot about that.
yeah.
Anyway, she did a show right before the Bears were in the Super Bowl '86, and it was her playing a jukebox, playing songs on a jukebox, and there was a song that went with each game, and it was all music of the time, and it's phenomenal. So I think I'm gonna do it if you guys want to come hang out on playback one night and we'll watch it.
absolutely.
Because like when they play Miami, they play like "Mama said there'd be days like this." But it's really fun, and it's different than like the NFL Films ones. It's a lot more just upbeat. But yeah,
it's local.
Anyway,
it's more. It's not polished like the NFL Films at all.
Yeah. Yep. So when I was doing my little cheat sheet for tonight, I could not figure out a third coach that made sense. So I'm dying here. What do you got, Pete?
I have one,
Oh, God.
and this is going to win me the draft. So my coach. Do you know who this is?
Gollum?
Trust me.
Right, but I found a picture of him as a youth, and this is why he is my coach. It's Waldo from the Hot for Teacher video. He's Waldo from the Hot for Teacher video.
Are you for real taking Mark fucking Trestman here?
Yes. He's Waldo.
Oh my Lord.
Because he was in a Van Halen video. No other coach can say that. I mean,
This is true. Great video, by the way. Great video, by the way.
Did he bring his pencil? Give him something to write on.
Yeah, that's the best work he ever did.
I brought my pencil.
Give me something to write on, man.
What's the David Lee Roth one? He's like, give me a glazed donut or a glass of anything to go.
Oh, Yankee Rose.
Yeah.
But yeah,
one of the first vinyls I bought when I started collecting records again was David Lee Roth. Jesus Christ. He's got visuals, people. Visuals.
That's right. Hey, like I said, his best work was done in a Van Halen video. You can't say that about Ditka. You can't say that about Lovey. I rest my case.
You're kind of unhinged here, Pete.
Hey, look at it. He's got it bad. He's got it bad. He's got it bad.
He is Hot for Teacher. Mm-hmm. It's one of my favorite songs of all time. I used to sing it at karaoke.
I used to sing it to my music teacher in high school.
All right. So I sat on this just because I feel like this guy's I'm not knocking your Neil Anderson pick at all, but I feel like this is the second best running back in the last 40 years for the Bears. He's probably top 10 in the last 40 years in football, in my opinion.
Rashawn Salam?
I'm going to go Rashawn Salam here. No, I'm going to go Matt Forte. I think Matt Forte was just fucking phenomenal. They just never knew how to use him right, but he still made it all work. Another guy like Peyton, he did a little bit of everything. He was even a good blocker, but he caught on the backfield, was running people over. He was just pretty fantastic all around.
No, I think that's a great pick.
Yeah.
I basically just have the 2012 Bears on my team.
That's some good players in there, though.
Yeah.
I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
I don't have Emery Moorhead, but I'm happy with it.
Well, you could have had him.
Or somebody who's been in a Van Halen video as well too.
Yeah, exactly.
I've seen like 4 people mention Sid Luckman. Follow the rules, friends. Follow the rules.
Because if you don't follow the rules, Johnny Morris is the number 1 receiver of all time still, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not even close.
For those of you who don't know, Johnny Morris
1980 people, 1980.
Yeah. Johnny Morris used to host the Mike Ditka show when him and Ditka will both be blasted out of their minds talking football after a game.
Yeah, Ditka by far is number one tight end too, obviously.
Oh God, absolutely. And you could have an argument over, as weird as this sounds, you can have an argument with Gale Sayers versus Devin Hester and Gale Sayers versus Walter Payton.
Yeah.
You could. Gale Sayers was that good. It's a shame he blew his knee out when he did.
Yeah, he only played. What did he play? 5 years? 4 years?
6, I think it was.
Was that 6? Okay.
Yeah. But the guy scored 6 touchdowns in a game. Rick Meyer pick. No, Johnny.
Hey, Bob's here. What's up, Bob? Gas Money
Johnny,
Bob hanging out.
Yeah, there's one pick you have to make here. It is the quarterback pick. I urge you, I beg you, Cade McNown, please.
I was really starting to get into football when they drafted Cade McNown, and I was so fucking excited. I was like, "We got Steve Young! We got Steve Young!"
No, this is all you need to know about Cade McNown. He got in trouble in college for parking in handicap spots when he wasn't handicapped.
A douchebag.
First day at Hallis Hall.
Only total scumbags do that shit.
First day at Hallis Hall, he parks in a handicap spot. I'm like, this ain't gonna work.
That's right, baloney. I've been cracking down with rules since the Aracheta debacle. It's all fucking Jason's fault. Damn it.
Fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy. Getting fancy Tony Khan seats to AEW shows. All right, John. I'm just fucking with John.
Yeah.
Those were cool seats, man.
They were. It was.
I don't think I'm ever not going to be on the floor though from now on. That was just too much fun.
Yeah.
For anybody who doesn't know,
yeah.
we all went to the AEW show the other night, and the bums had really good seats, and then so did the Penguins, and yeah, it was pretty bonkers. I took a picture of Jim Ross at one point, and then I looked at the picture the next day, and Johnny's standing in the background.
Yeah, that was I looked concerned. All right. I've been mulling this
we
whole...
didn't take chairs. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've been mulling this whole thing over for the whole entire show about quarterback because there's so many different ways you could go with this. Because there's not really that many good picks. I mean, it was kind of either like 1 or 2 good seasons or 1 good season. Yeah. I mean, this is tough. I don't want to right now. I don't want to. I asked earlier about this if I could play a current Bears player who is on the active roster right now, and I can't go with Justin Fields. Because it's still kind of like up in the air with him, so I really don't want to go that route just yet with him. But if I'm going to pick somebody, this is probably going to shock everybody. I don't know if this is going to make me lose the draft or not, but just looking at his statistics of all-time
I know
records,
who you're going with. You're going with. Okay, go ahead.
All-time records. I mean, if I'm going to have a decent running back, a wide receiver, a tight end, and a defense, and the coach as well too, I mean, I got to go with the guy who has the all-time Bears touchdown record in a season. And I have to go with he almost was the first Bears player ever to hit over 4,000 yards in a season.
Yep.
I got to go with Eric Kramer.
Absolutely.
It's not a bad pick. He was my number 2 on the list. So
yeah,
I for a second thought you were going Mitch Trubisky. I really did. Because if you look at the numbers, it's not that crazy. If you look at the discrepancy of touchdowns to interceptions, he's one of the best.
Yeah, no, I mean, I could have went to, Trubisky, or even if, everybody wants to think about Grossman had a pretty decent year, I guess, if you want to call it that, but
Orton was better than Grossman in my opinion.
I think I think so too.
Yeah.
But
even Jim Miller you could put in there too.
Yeah, but Eric Kramer's numbers, I mean, there is no 30 touchdown quarterback ever in a Bears season. I think we're the only team who hasn't had a 30 touchdown quarterback, and he came close back in. It was 1995. So
Yeah.
And with the style of play the current guy has, I don't think he's going to get 30 touchdowns either.
No.
Maybe if we count rushing.
Yes. I think if you count rushing, he'll get 30, but not through the air.
No, yeah, I mean, I was while researching, I'm like, if I don't take Jay, I'm like, I had Jay Cutler in my mind the whole time.
Yeah.
When I got the number 2 pick, just because I think it's such a huge drop off. But again, Eric Kramer was fucking good for a couple of years there. Like really good.
Yeah, he wasn't with the Bears for long, but I
No.
mean, just the time that he had that obviously that one big season, and then like he just kind of like had subpar seasons. So
I think he had a huge year in Detroit too, didn't he?
He did.
Pete?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what the Bears signed him after he had his huge year in Detroit.
That's what it was.
Because if I remember correctly, the Lions signed Scott Mitchell from the Dolphins.
Oh God, that guy sucked.
And Kramer came to the Bears.
Yeah. I was just looking at it. Oh yeah, no, he really didn't have any big years before that.
Right.
He just started the year before he came to the Bears. He started 4 games. He won 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
So he had a few like really big games, and then didn't really play after that. Huh.
yeah, that was definitely tough for the quarterback because I'm like, you could
Yeah.
after like Jay Cutler and Jim McMahon, like where the fuck do you go after that?
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Kramer was definitely. I was debating between McMahon and Kramer, but the opportunity to show a prop and sing a little bit of the Super Bowl Shuffle, I couldn't pass it up. Then there's Jim Miller. Don't discount Jim Miller. Jim Miller was, he was a good quarterback for the Bears until he got busted with a performance-enhancing drug that he said he bought at GNC.
Even Harbaugh was pretty good, but he threw too many interceptions.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys know who has the highest quarterback rating in the history of the Bears?
It's Harbaugh, isn't it? No.
John, you got a guess?
Oh wait, I think I know who it is.
Anybody in the chat know?
Is it Kyle?
No.
No. Okay, never mind. I don't know.
It's Mitch fucking Trubisky.
Of course it is.
Yep. He I keep in mind, so 64 touchdowns and 37 interceptions. That ratio is better than pretty much anybody the Bears have ever had. 2 to 1 almost.
That's not really saying
It's not. That's the funny part of this whole thing is like the futility of Bears passing game of over 100 years.
Right.
This is like a perfect example of how depressing it is to be a Bears fan,
And I think, one thing I want to add too, people need to understand, you look at Peyton, you look at Neil Anderson, even Forte, for example, they would not be the same player in this era of the NFL. They just wouldn't, because the game is completely different.
Well, they wouldn't use them the same way either.
Right, exactly.
I mean, even if they still had the ability, they still wouldn't.
Yes.
They wouldn't use them the same. Yeah,
it's a vertical game, not a horizontal game anymore.
Well, and it's also a fresh legs game these days, especially with running backs. You're not gonna don't hand the ball off 42 times. You can't do that.
Right. Well, because the joke was always with Peyton is in the early '80s was Peyton left, Peyton up right, Peyton up the middle. Punt. That was the Bears offense.
Yep.
And it's just
one-dimensional.
Oh, one-dimensional is an understatement for what it was. And you could, for the offense you see today, you could thank Bill Walsh for a lot of it with the invention of the West Coast offense and everything else. And then Dan Marino and
I was gonna say Shula pulled it around a bit too.
Yeah, Dan Marino and the Mark brothers, Mark Clayton and Mark Duper.
Yep. Yeah, those guys were unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when you watch clips of Marino, you're like, that guy could do it at any era.
Oh, I think he would throw for even more.
That arm
yards
was
now.
just nuts.
It's not only the arm; it's the release.
Yeah.
He was so fast, and if you look at Mark Clayton and Mark Duper compared to the size of the receivers today, these guys were what, 5'10", 5'11". They weren't built like they are today. Marino would be throwing to guys who are like 6'3", 6'4". That's more reach that they could have. That gives an even bigger window for Marino to throw the ball.
Gigantic target to throw to. Yeah.
He didn't need it.
Could you imagine if Dan Marino had fucking Megatron for a bit like that? The game would have been broken. It would have been broken. There would have been like a hole in the middle of the field where the vortex came open because of those two. It's like the streams crossing in fucking Ghostbusters.
Imagine him with Randy Moss.
Yeah.
Or Larry Fitzgerald.
Larry Fitzgerald's amazing.
Think of that speed with the Marino pass.
Okay, I'm going to say this one more time for you, Jason. We can't draft Mike Ditka as a tight end. My Lord, pay attention, please.
Yes.
Please, for the love of God. Did anybody
He's probably very drunk right now.
Jason,
he's lost.
HBIC? No.
He didn't have a drink. All right. We discussed, did you guys think about best Bears backup quarterback of all time?
Oh my gosh.
You asked us to come up with one.
I did.
Now, are we talking about the actual best or just like the one that like everybody like shit their pants over and then they were terrible?
Well, that's been pretty much all of them, isn't it?
Shane Matthews? The Shane Matthews band?
Because I saw someone wanted Moses Moreno.
Henry Burris.
Oh, yeah.
Justin Deere. I mean, the list is endless. It's,
Kyle was the best backup jumper, but he ended up becoming a starter.
Yeah.
And we were able to trade him for Jay Cutler.
Yeah. What was the running joke? The most popular athlete in Chicago is the backup quarterback.
Yeah, because every year in the preseason, these guys would throw for 300 yards and be like, I want P.T. Willis out there every week.
That Magic kid looks like he could be the next Joe Montana.
Right. No, it's Joe Montana.
Oh, Joe Montana. There you go.
Okay. Can you make? I want you each. And this is spontaneous. I didn't ask them to come up with something. So if it takes a second, that's fine. Yeah. I want you to come up with something positive and something negative that we're going to see in the Bears season.
Okay. I can go first. I'll be honest with you. The positive and negative are directly tied to each other. This is Justin Fields' third year. It's his make or break year. So you will find out whether or not he is the quarterback of the future. If he is, you have a shitload of draft capital next year that you can use to fill other pieces. If he is not, you have 2 number 1 picks. Depending on where they fall, you could get another quarterback if need be.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the Bears are in an outstanding position either way you look at it because they have those 2 first-rounders for next year. Yep. And if Fields is bad and they have a bad year, the Bears will have a high draft pick. If they're lucky, Carolina has an even worse year, so the Bears have a higher draft pick.
Yeah.
Those are good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the draft capital thing is exciting because we pretty much never had that before.
Right, exactly. Because we're always trading.
What's that?
Yeah. That was always the joke. The day the Bears traded for Jay Cutler, they gave up a couple first-round draft picks in the trade. And I remember saying to myself, and this is when I realized how fucked up it was. I said, oh, that's good because they always miss on their first-round picks anyway. I'm like, hey, idiot.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever fucking heard.
But it's the fucking truth. And that was part of the
know.
problem with this franchise.
All right, Johnny, you got
Yeah. Obviously, I'm gonna around the topic of Justin Fields here. I think he's gonna have a really big year. With all the weapons that he got. The offensive line still, I would say, a little bit of a question mark. I kind of wish that Tevin Jenkins was healthy because I think that would have really bolstered up the offensive line. But even then, like with the weapons that he has, the running backs that he has, obviously, I think he's going to take a big step forward, not only in passing touchdowns, but also in passing yards as well too. Obviously he probably is going to still in his repertoire is still running a quarterback as well too, because obviously, like I said, that offensive line is not a elite line, but I just think that he will take that next step forward. And we do, like, again, we have that draft capital where I think I'm begging. Hopefully Carolina does fucking tank so bad that we could get Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, that's just my goal right there. If they can possibly get that,
I think if they end up with a top pick, it's got to be defensive line though, right? I mean,
yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that as well too. But again, they got two first round picks. So depending on how they are, I said they're going to go to the playoffs, but that's just me. But as far as negative, you actually just touched on it. It's that defensive front.
That was mine and my negative one too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little like, I mean, they obviously they improved their linebacking core, and obviously their backfields I think is incredible to me. Not obviously elite, but it's definitely I would say up there.
Get there with time, it could get there. Yes.
So but yeah, that defensive line does scare me, just because I just feel like teams will run up the middle towards that defensive line. There's nothing to be scared about. So so yeah, I mean, hopefully, in the offseason, obviously, we talk about draft capitals that they'll fix that, or even free agency, because even next year too, aside from draft capital, is that they're still going to have a lot of money to play around with as well too. So obviously, they're probably going to have to sign a couple of their own players as well too.
If more balls out, he's going to cost $1 billion.
Yeah.
Right. So but still, I just feel that, they'll be able to address it next year unless something happens this year and they trade, obviously for Jones from Kansas City. I keep on hearing that's one of the rumors, but we'll see how that goes.
They got to pull the trigger quick.
Yeah. So
they're going to have to get rid of a lot of that draft capital to get him.
Yeah.
So
the Sox just gave up us. We're leading 6-0. It is now 6-6 in the bottom of the ninth.
Good.
Of course.
Bases loaded with 2 outs.
Who was out there? Who's pitching?
Santos.
Oh, I didn't think I thought they were gonna give him a break. Wasn't he gonna get a break? Okay. So my negative, I just both this guy in his fucking Dressman picture.
Well,
he's so
bro.
Oh man. I think the offensive and defensive lines still need a lot of work. I think they made a good pick getting that tackle. I think they're okay on the tackles. After that, getting on the inside, it's going to be they're just going to get beat up, I think.
Yeah.
And then on the defensive line, I like the 2 tackles they got again. I like the 2 tackles they got. And I like Ngakoue. I like the pickup. I don't think they have enough pass rush to help out with the rest of the defense, but the rest of the defense is fine. I think linebacking core is good. I think the DBs are good, but the defensive line's just going to struggle, I think, again, same as last year. They're not going to help enough, basically. And then the positive thing, I think that rookie running back from Texas, right?
Texas, yeah.
That guy's going to ball out. I think I think
agree.
by like week 4 or 5, I think he'll be getting just as many carries as the other dude.
Yep.
Claire Hubbard.
Yeah, I think, and that's not a knock on Herbert. I think that other guy is just a fucking freak, and people slept on him because he was behind Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that guy's gonna be huge for us.
Holy shit!
What did he do?
The White Sox lost on a fucking balk.
A balk?
Yes.
All right. Hey, it's the culture, man.
Yeah.
Hey, Pete, we're trying to have a good time here, okay?
Well, yeah. Why don't we do
Bring that
like a
negative
quick?
stuff.
First of all, I got Sam Reeves' list for us. Sam was gracious enough to create this list for us. So his all-time fantasy draft, we got Craig Krenzel at quarterback, Brock Forsey, or as I call him, Brock Foreskin at running back, Javon Wims at wide receiver, Jesper Horsted, probably one of the best names next to Al Afalava in the history of the Bears. And then defense, any Chris Conte defense.
We want more heads.
He picked the right coach though, right, Pete?
Yes, he did.
Fun fact, Chris Conte, do you know who his grandpa is?
Oh, I do know this. Oh shit.
He played the bad guy in The Godfather.
That's right.
Guy that
Richard
played
Conte. Richard Conte.
yeah, what was the character in The Godfather?
Titaglia? No.
Shit.
Barzini.
Yeah, it was Barzini all along.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
So, all
It was the right
right, dump list. Anybody we didn't mention in terms of quarterbacks? I don't think so.
Jim Harbaugh wasn't bad. I mean, not great.
Here, I want to show you something real quick. Jim Harbaugh.
And Jim Miller had that good stretch until he got busted with PEDs.
Jim Harbaugh had more interceptions than touchdowns as Bears quarterback. That's not gonna fly.
Well,
we could have picked Doug Flutie though.
Yeah, Doug. Well, you forgot the ultimate favorite backup quarterback of all time for the Bears, Mike Tomczak.
Another guy, a lot of interceptions.
Well, the thing with Tomczak, in all honesty, Tomczak was a lot like Devin Hester. Don't let him think. If he came in for an injury,
so if they had to prepare him for a game, he was garbage. But if he had to snap, get out there and throw me a touchdown, he
yeah. But if he went out for an injury, he would look great. But if you gave him a game plan, he would just overthink it and just it would go to shit.
So he's 6th all time in quarterback rating for Bears quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Now the list I'm looking at, there's only 6 quarterbacks on it because you had to throw over 1,500 pass attempts to qualify. So that's how, So that's how merry-go-round the carousel quarterback of the Bears were.
So wait, it's Sid Luckman's got to be 1.
Sid Luckman is number 5.
Number 5. Cutler's
McMahon. 2. McMahon's 4.
So you said it's Luckman, McMahon, Cutler, Tom.
Oh, no, Trubisky was 1, remember?
Yes, Trubisky was 1, yeah.
So it's Trubisky, Cutler, Eric Kramer, because he threw just over 1,500 pass attempts.
Yes.
And that's only 3 seasons. So keep in mind, we've only had 6 quarterbacks that have 3 seasons worth of passing. Jim McMahon, Sid Luckman, Jim Harbaugh.
And the funny thing,
how fucking pathetic is that?
If you look at Cutler's numbers for his Bears career, passing yards, what is that? 2 seasons for Dan Marino?
No, 4,
3?
5.
No.
What, he threw 5,000 yards?
Yeah.
So 4.5.
Okay.
Cutler had 23,000 yards. So
for the Bears?
Yeah.
Okay.
Guys, I don't mean to stop you here, but Baloney's gonna blow a gasket if we don't talk about Tom Waddle here.
Hey, Waddle, go for a piss.
He's been talking about this for I think 2 hours, even before this thing even started.
Hey, all I gotta say about Tom Waddle is Baloney may be the only person softer than Tom Waddle.
Oh,
Yikes.
oh,
Yikes.
oh.
All right. Running back dump list.
Nice kick, Baloney.
Oh,
I had two guys on my dump list for running backs for Bears. That didn't get picked, that we didn't really talk about. Thomas Jones.
yes,
I thought
yes,
Thomas Jones was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
If he'd have had more years here, I would have probably picked him tonight.
Yeah.
And then the A train.
Yeah.
Wasn't the best. I think we got the most we were going to get out of him.
Yeah.
And then of course you can't think about A train without thinking about that horribly racist McDonald's bobblehead. So
yeah. Hold on a second.
Pete's got it. Oh God.
I will say about Thomas Jones, he reminded me, I guess, like a forthcoming of what Matt Forte actually became.
Yeah, no, he was. Yeah, he was well rounded.
Right. Yes.
He made a good ying to the Cedric Benson yang. So
yes.
So before I frame this, yeah, this is the most racist bobblehead ever. Look at.
Oh.
What the fuck?
Wow.
And here's the other one.
Urlacher.
I had that one, that Urlacher
And
one.
remember, these are lead paint bobbleheads. These are the lead paint ones.
These are the ones. These are the ones you suck on, and everything's fine.
They released, and then they said, "Oh shit, they have lead paint on there. We have to do a recall."
Jesus Christ. Any other running backs you guys can think of?
No, I think the A Train one is the one that stood out to me. You know, I think he had a great rookie season in 2001. Remember, they had the Michigan connection with we had the good in A Train, and then we had the very bad in David Terrell with his cruising touchdown celebration.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
David Terrell.
Yep. No, but that's really. I mean, but there's one fullback I'll say who has to be acknowledged, and that's Matt Suey. Just for all the blocking he did for Walter Payton.
Yeah.
You know, you have to give Suey credit because does Payton break the record? Yeah, probably. Does he get as many yards as he did? Probably not without Matt Suey.
Hey, the offensive line was pretty awesome in front of him for many years too. Jimbo Covert was a monster.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jimbo Covert in the 85 NFC divisional round against the Giants single-handedly handled Lawrence Taylor.
He did.
Single-handedly, he took care of Lawrence Taylor.
Kept him at bay.
Yep. Which was especially the coked up rage Lawrence Taylor, which was a tough task to do.
No, Yumper. Marion Barber does not count.
What about Edgar Bennett? Does he count?
So I have two more running backs.
All right.
David Montgomery had a solid career.
Mm-hmm.
And then the guy before him, Jordan Howard. Jordan Howard was really good. I think they got rid of both at perfect times. I don't think they should have come back. So that's the window. That's the window for running backs in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And if fans don't understand that, you know, when a running back's rookie contract ends, they fucking go. That's how it works. But
one of the Bears things too that drove me nuts back in the day, and I think this was in the Wanstead era.
Yeah,
is they drafted Rashaan Salam and Darnell Autry. And if you remember, Salam won the Heisman Trophy for Colorado by running sweeps.
Yeah.
Running to the sidelines and breaking it and taking off. And Darnell Autry for Northwestern made his money running between the tackles. So the Bears, in their infinite wisdom, decided to try and have Rashaan Salam run between the tackles and Darnell Autry do the sweeps. And it was like, what are you people thinking? This isn't.
I don't think Autry had NFL talent to begin with. Though. Come on.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah, I
but
don't.
Salam's going into between the tackles, and all he's doing is fumbling the ball because he doesn't know how to carry it in between the tackles because all he did was fucking sweep.
I always feel bad for Salam because the talent was there. He just yeah.
I'm just remembering all these flashbacks now. It's all coming back to me. Fumbles and that was bad. Well, I will say though, as far as like running backs, like over the recently through the years, they've been pretty good. Yes. You know, like you guys mentioned
we've done a good job.
Howard, David Governme, like Matt Forte. Through the years, I think we drafted pretty well with the
even in the 90s, we had like Raymond Harris and guys like that did pretty well.
The ultra back.
Yeah. Good old Brad Muster.
Oh God. That guy, for someone so big, he was soft.
All right. Wideouts. I had a couple. Curtis Conway was good. Yumper mentioned Curtis Conway just now. Yeah. And then Yumper actually also mentioned the other one, Marcus Robinson. Marcus Robinson. That guy at his peak was really, really good, but it was too short.
Yeah. People sleep on Dennis McKinnon. That guy would get some tough yards for you back in the day. And I seriously thought of taking him as my wide receiver, but I'm like, I'm really going like old school heavy. So I wanted to get some diversity in there.
Sure.
But I mean, don't sleep on Dennis McKinnon. That's the guy who got you the tough inside yards. You know, the thing is,
he always went over. He was always over the middle. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And you had the dynamic of you had McKinnon who was going to go over the middle and get the tough yards. Then you would hope you could spring one with Willie Gault for like a 50, 60-yard completion. And the thing with Willie Gault was
at Olympic speed.
If you threw Willie Gault a pass and he caught it, he was going to have a great game. If he dropped it, don't even bother throwing to him again because he's going to suck.
Right.
That's how
his hands were not great.
No, absolutely not.
No. He was really good at getting separation, getting open though.
Yes.
So
yes.
You kind of put up with it.
I do have to say something that Dougie put out there, and I think that he should get an honorable mention is Johnny Knox, because I think he had some pretty decent years, and the fact that he got injured young, you don't know what his potential would be. He wasn't like all flashy, but he was fast. He was definitely fast, and he, obviously he had that unfortunate accident that pretty much ended his football career, but I think Knox would, I would say would definitely be up there as far as like a talented, Bears wide receivers.
Yeah. Who was the Bears receiver whose career ended in Philadelphia on the AstroTurf? Do you remember that?
That wasn't Knox?
No.
No, Knox was here. Yeah, Knox happened here.
Yeah, it was here, yeah. What year was it? Do you remember?
Like 87, 88, somewhere around there.
That would I don't know.
I can't remember his name, but he basically he got a cleat caught. If I remember correctly, he got a cleat caught in the AstroTurf in Philly, in Old Vet Stadium, and his kneecaps, like he dislocated his kneecaps or something like that. It was it was the end of his career.
So I'm looking at 88 right now. I think it was a different year because that was McKinnon, Ron Morris, Wendell Davis, and
Wendell Davis.
Was it Wendell Davis? Okay.
Yes.
Must have happened a different year because he played 16 games that year.
Might have been 89.
Yeah, he only played 14 games.
Yeah.
He was young too.
Yeah. But Wendell Davis wasn't bad either. It's a shame his career ended early.
Well, I mean, like all those other, like that team had like Dennis Gentry too, and McKinnon, Ron Morris, Wendell Davis. It wasn't bad. They just McMahon could never stay healthy after a couple of years, and that was the year Tom Zach took over because Harbaugh sucked, and that was the thing though. They never had it after McMahon. They struggled so badly with quarterbacks that who knows if they had talent in the wideouts, you know?
And that's an absolutely fair point, because
That's
after
true.
McMahon, you got into the Justin Deere, Moses Moreno, Paul, just all these different guys who was like, who's this week's hot quarterback pick for everybody,
Yeah. Yeah, they kept Harbaugh around way too long, I think.
Yeah.
Remember when Harbaugh almost took the Colts to the Super Bowl, though?
1 yard
Oh
short.
yeah, it was against the Steelers, right? In the AFC Championship game.
Yep. 1 yard short.
Yep.
And then we had 94, we had Steve Walsh.
Yep.
Oh gosh, I forgot about him.
And then that was when Kramer took over.
Yeah.
Dave Craig. Oh, God. Yeah, that was miserable.
Dave Craig was like 80 years old by the time he came to the Bears.
Roberto Garza, Yumper. Have you ever seen the Roberto Garza super donut at the grocery store? They used to have them. They're like frozen glazed donuts. They had Roberto Garza's face on them. They always had him a jewel. Tight ends. The only one we didn't talk about that I thought had a good career here was Desmond Clark.
Yeah.
He was really good. The other ones were kind of just like, it was almost like for like 10, 15 years where they like plug and play tight end every year. They didn't really have like a consistent guy.
I would think that even like you could probably say, like I said, I know he's not up there as high, but I just think another guy that I really liked was Zach Miller. Obviously he had that bad injury that happened. I think it was in the dome or something like that. Didn't he get his like foot caught or something happened? I forgot.
His leg basically blew up, right?
Oh, was it against the Saints? I think. Yeah, it just blew. Yeah.
Yeah. He only played 33 games for the Bears. It kind of felt like a lot longer, didn't it?
That's what. Yeah. But I know that Cutler, like that was his like one of his like good like favorite targets as well too when he was playing.
So there's only 1, 2, 3, 4.
And you forgot the tight end with the best nickname, Tim Reitman, RoboCop.
There were only 11 Bears tight ends in the history of the team that had over 1,000 yards receiving. Not a season for their career here.
My gosh, that's terrible.
Ditka, Emery Moorhead, Desmond Clark, Martellus Bennett, Greg Olson. So that's the top 5.
Yeah.
Then you go to Ryan Wetnight.
Oh God.
Oh yeah.
Cole Kmet.
Okay.
Zach Miller, Greg Latta, Jesus. Jim Thornton and Keith Jennings.
Oh yeah, Keith Jennings as well too.
Yeah,
I forgot about him.
See, whenever I see Cap Boso's name, I always think Tecmo Super Bowl because he was the tight end.
Well, was it Cap Boso also the one who came up on Monday Night Football with the clump of grass in his face mask?
And he was like all discombobulated, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
But, any offensive position outside of running back, they really don't have a lot of glory there.
Yeah.
And really with running back, you have what? 2, 3? Because, Peyton and Sayers put the bar so high for every other.
Right.
It's really not a fair assessment.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And then finally, dump list for coaches. I again say, and I think I mentioned this. I think I mentioned this in the pre-show. There's only 3 head coaches, since George Halas retired. There's only 3 head coaches in Bears history with winning records. That's Mike Ditka, that's Lovie Smith, and that's Matt Nagy. So,
well, Nagy did it because he had one great year, and then 500 the rest of the time.
And then there's only 1, 2, 3. There's only 4 coaches that made the playoffs more than once.
Wait, Ditka, Nagy, Lovey. Oh, George. Does George
Wannstedt?
count?
No, Wannstedt. Yep,
Wannstedt.
They've Wannstedt. Two playoff appearances, 1 win. Oh no, I'm sorry. 2 playoff games.
Yeah, 1 year.
One year. Yes,
because they beat the Vikings.
That's even more pathetic. So
yeah,
because they beat the Vikings on New Year's Day. I want to say 1995. Then they went to San Francisco, and they basically refused to throw the ball to the Deion Sanders side of the field.
They've
And they
only
got
won.
smoked by
They've
the
only
Niners.
won 10. They've only won 10 playoff games since George Halas left.
Yeah, and you figure Ditka has what? 1, 2,
He's got
3,
he's
4,
got 6 of 'em.
5, 6. Okay.
Yeah, Lovey's got 3, and Wannstedt has 1.
Yep.
That's insane. I hope this Bears team turns it around because
Yeah.
now this started getting depressing. And first, when Pete started talking about the White Sox, it had to bring that stuff up, and now that stuff is depressing.
I mean, I planned this episode, and the closer I got to it, the more I realized like this is going to be kind of sad.
Yes.
But yeah, hey, hopefully we got some good stuff coming. We have a guy running the team that is doing things that are unconventional to us, and that's probably good. We have a coach that seemingly is good at communicating with his players, which is something Chicago doesn't know anything about. Yeah. I'm not hopeful for this season, but I'm moving forward. I'm excited.
It's baby steps.
Yeah, baby steps. And you hit the nail on the head. They're doing things that it seems strange to us because we've never seen it done before, but it's standard operating procedure for a quote unquote normal franchise.
Right. It's nice for us to be conventional, but to us it's unconventional because we're just used to
and
screaming at the clouds,
Yeah. And I have a message for Bears fans. I've heard Bears fans say this to this day that, the Bears need to run the 46 defense. There's 2 giant problems with that. 2. 1, you don't have the talent level to run the 46 defense. You just don't.
Well, they also figured out how to beat it. That Don Shula figured out how to beat it. I mean,
Well, Dan Marino figured out how to beat it with a super quick release.
Right. You get those short passes, quick release, those slants, those outs, like you're going to beat them like that.
And that was the variation of the West Coast offense that Bill Walsh put in place to combat it.
Yep. That's why they beat the Bears in 84
and 88.
Yeah.
And if you really watch those games, they really don't use the running game. They use the 5 and 10 yard in and outs as sort of a de facto running game for them.
And just let them beat the other team with their legs.
Yes, exactly. And the other thing people need to remember about the 46 defense, if any team ran that defense today and was successful at it, all their players would be suspended at one point or another.
A lot of CTE, man. A lot of CTE.
Yes, exactly.
Can't do that anymore.
I again say I don't know how Gary Fensick can walk around in society without like a drool cup
and be successful as a businessman too.
And then on the other end of it, you got Jim McMahon, who, I remember reading a story a couple of years ago where he went to the grocery store and he was walking around the grocery store and he forgot how to get home. He forgot what he was getting, what he's there to buy. He had to call his wife and have her come pick him up because he didn't know how to get home. Like, wow, that's the saddest thing ever.
Look at Dave Duerson.
Yeah.
I
worked in the same building as Dave Duerson many years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I used to see him on the elevator. Him and Bo Jackson actually had an office I was in Lincolnshire in the building that I worked in. You know who also had an office on the other side of the complex?
Ditka.
Steve Bartman.
Oh God.
Whoa.
I was working there when the Cubs thing happened, and the next day there were like 50 freaking reporters in the parking lot. They had to have the security get rid of everybody.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Good.
But all right, this has been a good one. I always enjoy. I haven't had a nice Bears conversation in a while. I honestly have kind of turned myself away from football over the years and kind of starting to creep back in. So it's nice to have this conversation. Nice to reminisce on stuff I remember about the Bears.
And the thing is, Right. Don't expect the Bears to win the Super Bowl this year, or I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. But what you want to see is progress. They won 3 games last year. If they win 7 or 8, that shows they're on the right path, and they will be able to identify where they have holes still, and with all the draft capital and with all the money, hopefully address all those holes. And
they're on their way. They're on their way up, and it's a slow burn. You know, that's people who don't understand that. They didn't watch what the Cubs did with their team. They didn't watch what the White Sox tried to do with their team. And obviously, bad analogy, and but yeah, it takes time.
And remember, it's only 16 or 17 games now, not 162.
So
it
over under. Yes. Let's do over under 8 games.
Victories? 8 victories, you're saying? Under. I say 7.
I know Johnny's going to go over because he said they're going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm going to go over. Yeah, I'm going to go over on that. I mean, we were talking about this yesterday, so.
I'm going to go under because I think they're going to probably win 7. They're going to go like 7 and 10, something like that.
Yeah. Well,
but I wouldn't be surprised if they went 11 and 6 or 10 and 7 either.
Yes.
Last year, I mean, if you take last year as an example of what they're capable of, they lost a lot of games in the fourth quarter last year. A lot of games in the fourth quarter. So, all I got to do is clean that up.
Yeah, and it all has to do with the same problem. One of the biggest problems the White Sox have. They had no depth. So guys would be gassed by the time the fourth quarter rolled around. And that's why teams were, you would watch them at halftime going, okay, looks pretty decent. And then the third and fourth quarter would roll around, and you would just see the talent level of a lot of other teams versus the Bears.
It almost seemed like they were trying to lose.
Yes.
The second half, but
I don't think
they're going to do that this year.
That last week, they were certainly trying to lose to try and get that number 1 draft pick, and Lovey helped them out immensely. And the funny thing is, Lovey knew he was being fired. They told him the day before he was being fired.
So he said, fuck it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Good.
Fire me? Okay. Fuck you guys.
All right. Fuck you guys. Screw you guys. I'm going home. All right. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Johnny, you got anything you want to mention about them bums?
Yeah. I mean, obviously we're always on every Monday at 9 p.m. Chicago Sports Bums. Go follow us. Obviously, we had our Bears talking, a lot of talking that we had yesterday. So we had our Bears extravaganza of just what we think about the season. So go check that out. Bear extravaganza. So, but yes, definitely check us out on Mondays, Chicago Sports Bums, 9 p.m.
Awesome. Pete, anything?
Love the Sports Bums show. If you get a chance,
Always.
go buy some Bourbon Bums t-shirts. I am going to be
some Penguin t-shirts, Pete.
Well,
I mean, come on. We have stuff too. God damn it.
Let me finish, damn it. I was going to say that, also, there's a bunch of Penguin shirts out there. One that I designed myself, which is the hope for health, hope for luck, hope for career years, and hope other teams come back to you to define the White Sox business model. But so get out there and get some of those shirts too. I will be recording a new edition of the Collector's Corner in the next day or so, because I have Brian, you know what it is.
Yep, you showed it to me. It's awesome.
Would you say it's a holy grail item?
For Chicago, especially for Chicago.
Yes.
Collectors, for sure.
Okay. So go ahead.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but this is something I was going to ask you. Mm-hmm. And what would you have in your collection that you would say like it's your holy grail? It's your like, I would never get rid of this. I would never this is something like, I think somebody would be like, wow, this is incredible.
I have a couple things. One I can show you. The other is actually going to be on the next Collector's Corner, but I can show you one right now.
Check it out. Oh, wow.
A game used base from the 2005 World Series.
How do you not have that in like a case or something, man?
I haven't finished getting autographs on it yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Who are you missing still?
So you can see I got several of the guys. Mark Burley, of course. trying to think of who else I'm missing. Burley's the biggest one I'm missing.
I wish we'd
have
have
all of
known
the
each
other
other
kids.
years ago because we used to my lawn care company used to do a lot of the Burley family lawns in
nice.
O'Fallon, Missouri, and Cottleville, Missouri, and
Yeah.
I probably could have gotten it signed back then.
Nice. But my plan on that, once I get it signed, I'm going to have a table designed where I could put it, because it's got the base on it too.
Yeah.
You can see the.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So I can have it like placed in there and have glass put over the top and make it like a display table.
You should take. So I know you were planning on moving at some point. You should have you should find a place where you could put a putting green in, and then put the base in the putting green.
I like it. I like that.
Yeah,
a good idea.
I got all kinds of ideas up here.
Yeah, but the other Holy Grail item, it just so happens that it will be on the next episode of Collector's Corner, and like I said,
people are gonna have to wait. So
yeah, Brian knows what it is, and I think people will be blown away.
Okay, yeah, it's a good one.
I know that
it's an iconic item for sure.
Yes, I know when I was able to get my hands on this, I was blown away.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, all right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Johnny, I'll show you once we turn the camera off because I
right,
have it here.
right. Okay.
All right, guys. So this has been the final episode of season 1 of It's Getting Drafty in here. So I wanted to stop and take a minute to thank a few people. First, Pete, I want to thank you for helping encourage me to start this podcast. And this has been just doing this for the last year has been such a blast, and I'm going to keep doing it forever, I think, because it's just something I love to do. So thank you, Pete. Thank you, Sports Bums. You guys help inspire me to do more stuff too. You guys do a lot of stuff, and I like to try and match up. So I have you guys on a lot, and I appreciate all of you guys, and thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Yep. And then Yumper and Svo, another two guys that helped us, move away from tricky situation that we weren't entirely happy in. I won't go too deep into that, but started Sadistic Penguin Studios, and we keep growing and growing and growing. We're over 200 subscribers on YouTube. Hopefully, by the end of next year, we'll have 500-600, something like that. So we're continue to grow. We're going to continue to make new content. Just coming up for me tomorrow, I'll be on playback with CPG. I wonder if Roxy might stop in with us. She usually does too, as well, for AEW Dynamite. We'll be talking about the show from Sunday, All Out, where we all went. I'm going to try and get some slides together so we can have so I can show you guys some pictures. I took a really crazy picture of Kenny Omega jumping out of the ring. So I got that. Saturday, we're going to do playback again. Svo and Bruhan Luke, who they have a new podcast. If you guys haven't checked out Eugene and Tallahassee, phenomenal stuff, college football. But we're going to be doing the Oregon Texas Tech football game on Saturday. So please feel free to stop in and hang out with us. We would love to have each and every one of you. So please. And then September 26th will be season 2 premiere, where I'm going to take a few weeks off of a Drafty Pod here. We have 6 members to our panel for that episode, so it'll be the biggest one yet. We are going to do a pretty comprehensive, gigantic Simpsons draft. So with a follow-up show the next night, actually, I'm going to have Baloney and Johnny. I invited you. If you want to come on, please feel free. We're going to do like a roundup afterwards to kind of like break down the draft. Awesome. So yeah, that's what's moving forward. Please please subscribe to the Tate and Glove or Sadistic oh my god, did I just fucking do that? Sadistic Penguin Studios. Wow. Sadistic do I have to clip that out? Sadistic Penguin Studios. Please please subscribe. And Yumper's gonna kill me, but again, thank you guys, thank everyone, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.